Squiggly the Squirrel Down at the Dump, Chapter 3. Hey, hold it down over there. I'm trying to eat. Stopping right in the middle of a huge wah, Squiggly gasped, and he and the girls looked towards the voice, but couldn't see anything. I say, show yourself. I must warn you that I'm armed, said Reginald. Well, at least winged, he muttered under his breath. Oh, yeah, well, I ain't scared. Marigold lifted off the ground and flew to the top of a small mound of trash. Looking down, she said in her deepest voice, "Hello?" Then, startled, she looked back at Reg and Squiggly and said, "Come here immediately. This creature seems to have fainted." Running to the top of the mound, Squiggly and Reginald looked down at the creature, and Squiggly said, "Aw, it's only a possum, and a little one besides." "Oh, dear, Reg, do you think it's dead?" Marigold said, giving it a gentle push with her wing. Reginald hopped over and gave the small animal a peck, but it still didn't respond. "Well, old girl, it appears you have scared it to death." Squiggly, who had forgotten all about crying, now laughed and said, "No, possums play dead when they're scared." "Well, how do you make it stop?" asked Marigold. "I don't know, but when I don't wake up in the morning, my mom tickles me." With that, Squiggly reached out and began tickling the small possum under his front leg. At first there was no reaction. Then there was a little snort, and finally the small possum started to giggle. Then it rolled over on its back and began laughing loudly, kicking its legs back and forth in the air. "Stop! You're killing me!" "Dear boy, do leave it alone. We don't want any more of that," said Marigold. "What are y'all doing in my lunch?" asked the small possum. "Well, young man, it is also our lunch," Marigold said haughtily, raising her beak up in the air. "Well, it isn't my lunch," said Squiggly. "I just want to go home. Hey, possum, what's your name? Mine's Squiggly." "Squiggly's a funny name for a squirrel. My name's Bob." Marigold and Reginald looked at Squiggly, and all three began giggling. "Now what are y'all laughing at?" asked Bob. This only caused Squiggly and the girls to laugh louder. Finally Squiggly fell onto his side and, clutching his stomach, laughed until he was in tears. "You think Squiggly's funny, and your name's Bob? That's a silly name for a possum." "Yeah, that's what my mother named all 6 of us." "My dear boy, am I to understand your mum named all her children Bob?" "No, she named my sisters Eva, Ava, and Ida." Once again Squiggly and the chorus began laughing. "Now what are y'all laughing about?" "Nothing," said Squiggly. "Bob, can you help me find my way home?" Is it far?" asked Bob as he adjusted the straps on his faded blue overalls. "I don't know. I don't even know where I am." "Well, why don't you ask the one in the silly hat? She acts like she knows everything." "Now look here, young possum, that's no way to speak to a person who once went to the Queen's garden party, and this hat is an exact replica of one worn by Her Majesty." "Now, Marigold, you just flew over Buckingham Palace." "Well, Reginald, it was during the Queen's garden party," Marigold said, throwing her head back and her chest out. They were in an area of scrub palmetto and ferns, and it seemed like a jungle to the 2 British seagulls. "When we were flying in, I noticed some woods and a small stream over that way. Let's go see if that is near your home," said Reginald. Walking in the sandy soil, Marigold proclaimed, "Why, Reggie, it's just like the beach at Brighton, without the waves, of course." "Geez, Pete, will you guys give it a break? Put a lid on it," came from behind an old refrigerator. "Who's there? Show yourself immediately. I must warn you I was in Her Majesty's service," barked Reginald. "Well, buddy, I hope it was the Air Force and that you earned your wings." Then a head popped over the refrigerator. The distinctive mask on his face made him look like a bandit, but when he stood it was apparent that this was no ordinary raccoon. He was dressed in sneakers, jeans that hung way below his waist, with his underwear showing above the top of the pants. He was wearing an I Love New York t-shirt and a Yankee ball cap with the bill off to the side. "Man, you are the noisiest bunch I ever heard," he said. Well, you ain't so quiet neither." Man, what kind of a crew is this? We got a possum, a squirrel, and two funny-looking pigeons. Dear boy, we are not a crew, rather just some tourists from the UK who have had their lunch completely interrupted by the likes of you and these other two brigands, said Marigold. Well, excuse me for living, Miss Hoity-Toity, but I ain't no brigand. I'm Gaetano Raccoon. What's a brigand anyway? Wait, shouted Squiggly. Can everybody be quiet for a minute and help me find my way home? Now see, Mary, you've upset the young sprout. What you mean, you don't know where you live? I know where, I just don't know how to get there, said Squiggly. Well, we need to ask Tess. She knows everything, said Gaetano. Who is this Tess and where shall we find her? Said Reginald. She lives over there in the woods near the river, said Gaetano. Well, then you must take us there. This dear boy needs to find his way home, and we need to get to the theme parks.